Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program, Superdawn. I am Vera Super with you.
And I am Precious Amayo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a beautiful Monday morning, and I am blessed among to say thank you for joining us on this week edition of Superdawn. Welcome.
Well, today on this program, we're going to be looking at curbing conflict in 2019 general elections. This is very important because pre-election period, we see things do happen, violence happen here and there, and it's beginning to mount up against that elections. And Nigeria political parties also are gearing up for the primary. So we want to look at how we can stop violence, how we can curb conflict between parties. And that's what we're doing today. And on the show, we're going to open the phone lines for you to call and make your contributions. And away from that, this morning, we're going to look at the newspaper review. This morning, we have some newspapers here with us. We'll go on this break. When we come back, we will start with the reviews, but no phoning during the newspaper review, but you can SMS us or you WhatsApp us on this segment. We'll go on this break. We'll be right back.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review segment, and we want to start with the New Telegraph this morning. The first story here saying APC luring senators with 50 million to sack Saraki. This came in from the RAPC. Well, I don't know how that's possible, but in Nigeria things do happen. I'll take the story. The Reformed All Progressive Congress, RAPC, yesterday accused the leadership of the APC of plotting with the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister for Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami San, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the SGF, Mr. Bosse Mustafa, to appeal to the All Progressive Congress and forcefully unseat the Senate President. It further accused the APC leadership of offering some senators of 50 million each to execute that plan. Well, Precious.
I think that you would have seen that in the polity as it is right now. We've seen allegations and counter allegations. We've seen people saying that we saw senators, PDP senators in the House, in the National Assembly, as late last week, sleeping in the National Assembly because they felt that there were plans to unseat Saraki. And then we've also seen the APC and the president saying, come back, reconvene, and then we have pending issues to deal with. But it looks like some faction is thinking reconvening might be, one of the ways they want to unseat him. So it's a lot of allegations and counter allegations going on. But we know that the National Assembly has gone on recess and they won't be back until September. So let's see how everything plays out till then.
Yeah, my own take on it, it's not far from what Precious has said. It's an allegation as it is now. And we all know that politics is playing itself out here. But whatever it is that needs to be done to ensure that there is unity in the Senate, that is of most priority right now, should be looked into as. And also for the Senate to be coming in as in sitting when they are still on recess. If truly the current situation at ground will call for them to do so, let them come in, and if not, then their research should continue to September 25th.
Then you begin to see that someone is giving out allegedly, because this is not yet proven, 50 million to unseat a Senate president, and we say there's no money in the country.
And in another quarters, I saw, I think, last week on the news where some media reporting that the APC are also offering 150 million naira to the senators to unseat the Senate president.
So when we have this kind of conflict,
they are all allegations.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that is missing in this is that we're forgetting governance because of 2019 elections. The Senate and not the Senate and the senators and then the members of House of Reps are not there basically, for politics. They are there, to pass laws and all. But in midst of all of this, people are forgetting the idea of governance and focusing on the politics of the House. The bill for the election is still there. The budget for the election is still there. There are a lot of pending issues, but instead, the senators and members of the House of the political parties are focusing on the politics and forgetting that, look, Nigerians matter.
Shouldn't we be asking questions because bylaws and laws coming in that they are supposed to do, and we're busy reading in the papers how someone wants to bribe, because that's bribery. Just to unseat someone, should we bother about who is there? I think what we should be looking at is how Nigeria can move forward, not even bothering yourself about who is there. Yeah,
necessarily as it is now, just like you said, we should be thinking about the well-being of this nation. The interest of this nation should be paramount to anyone, either you as a leader at the federal level, at the executive or the judiciary, or even at the legislative level. But as it is now, it's politics, like I said, playing out itself here. And since the Senate president has defected to the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, it's so obvious that this ruling party wants to ensure that whatever it is, everything must always be on their side. But as it is, it's an allegation, and we're still watching out for the outcome of it.
Okay, I will read some of these writers here. Maybe people are pointing accusing fingers to the NMPC. This says here, NMPC, we are not funding plots. And here it's saying from PDP, APC inviting trouble. We also have from APC, we want Saraki out through legitimate means. But from the federal government, House Senate President frustrated Buhari's government. All of this coming up, all because of the election around the corner. Yeah. We also have in the papers today, Cameroon, Benin's low tariff aids rice smuggling. And the writer says, smugglers, how we collide with customs officials. The high spats of rice smuggling into Nigeria from the neighboring countries had been traced to porous borders as well as high import duty and levy at the nation's seaports. This came up.
We had the president of Benin Republic, come see President Buhari sometime last week or last 2 weeks over this issue of the porous borders, because the president had said, look, we're going to shut down the border, and so that we can have less smuggling of goods into the country. Because it's been reported that Nigeria is the worst, when that border is the worst. But the president had to come and see, President Buhari. We need to man our borders. We need to check, things are coming in and things are going out. Because at some point in this country, we had the issue of, plastic rice. People said, they were buying rice that was plastic. And we've had issues of cars being smuggled in and out of the country. So really, we need to focus on our borders, not just, again, for issues of smuggling, issues of security also, come to play here. So our borders have to be really manned.
Okay, we take this one. 2019, Akpabio's defection unsettles government and the PDP. The writer says Akwa Ibom governors begged party leaders, and here says Buhari ex-governor meets in London over the weekend. I know it was a fake news where people said the former governor of Akwa Ibom State had defected to APC. And maybe because of his visit to London. This came up over the weekend and people started saying this man has moved already, but the man hasn't moved.
As of last week, when the PDP NEC meeting was ongoing, the Senate Minority Leader in person of Senator Godswill Akpabio was not at the meeting. He was with the Vice President at the Presidential Villa. So that brought a lot of speculations that is planning of defecting to the APC, but we've actually not seen the outcome of that yet, and we're looking forward to that to see if truly he's going to be defecting to the All Progressive Congress. And then again, with what we're seeing here, defections here and there, it's another way to tell if truly, whether or not APC are actually losing their grants. But still, we are waiting for the senator to come out to declare his intention and make it public whether it's defecting or not.
I don't think anybody will be surprised if it defects, because I mean we've seen if the Senate president can defect from a party to another, then the minority leader as well can defect. We've seen a senator defect yesterday from the PDP to the APC. Yes. Instead of Wedge who defected. So I mean things are playing and people are moving from one party to the other. I don't think it'd be surprising if he actually comes out to say I'm defecting.
But I know lots of people will be surprised in that state. Akwa Ibom state has been a PDP state from the onset.
Yeah,
and we saw what the ex-governor did in that state, you know, and that's where the fear came in, because the man actually affected the lives of the people in that state. So if it's moving cross-carpet into another party, it's going to affect the elections for that state. But he has said he's not going to. Some other persons also said, some other quarters also said that it was because presidency and the APC-led administration wants to force. They wanted him to appeal to the Senate president to reconvene for a sitting session.
But the thing is, you cannot particularly say that a state is a party state, because we also saw that in Kwara, where Kwara for a long time was a PDP state. But when, you know, Saraki defected, it became, APC. Now the governor has defected to PDP, so it's a PDP state. So you cannot necessarily say that a state is a party state. Even in Edo State, we had at a point where it was a long time to a PDP state, and then became an APC state. And then, you know, who knows what happens in the next election. So really, it depends on the swing of politicians.
What does this say about our polity? What does it say about our system?
Well, for me, I think it says that it is dynamic and it is unique to us, and it is dynamic. Or like some other states where you had other countries where you had to find the governor or the president, whoever it is, defect, you know, while he's still on seat. Here you find it happen here. Okay,
I'll just take this last one, and it says 9 corps members drowned in Taraba River. That's where we will stop from this news telegraph, and we'll move away to the Punch this morning.
All right, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, it says tragedy as 9 youth corps members drown in Taraba River. I'm going to take that report. Is on page 58 of the Punch newspaper. It talks about how it says here 9 youth corps members currently serving in Taraba State on Saturday drowned in the river Mayor Selby in the Gashaka local government area of the state. The police public relations officer, Taraba State Police Command ASP David Misal, who confirmed the death of 9 out of the 22 corps members who were swimming in the said river, said 7 corpses had so far been recovered from the river. So basically, these corps members were, you know, there were 22 of them, and they went swimming in the Taraba River. And we're talking about this issue yesterday with some colleagues who, you know, were saying, must corps members die? I mean, they die on the road, they die, you know, in the process of serving. And one of the things I said, yes, sometimes it looks like this scheme, you know, we want to blame the NYC scheme. But I know that while we're on camp, some things are told, yes, there's some things that are told you, because I served in Abia State and I know they told me some things, you can't go here, you can't go there at this time of the day, or even, you know, corps members, it's painful to see this, but sometimes corps members, as much as you want to have fun, we need to be careful, really, really careful.
Yeah, even when you want to be adventurous, you have to know that life cannot be gotten if it's gone. They tell you there are restricted areas, and people still do that. If you cannot swim, why do you go near the river?
It's as simple as that.
I go to the beach sometimes, but I know that I dare not. Just at the bank of it, I stay put there. I dare not enter. No matter you want to do selfie there, people want to do, they don't know how to swim. But you see them with their cell phones and want to do selfie. I know that's not why you are there. You are there to serve, and if you know you cannot cope, I think just stay back in your room, your apartment.
If I'm to add to it, I just hope that this incident that has happened will be a clarion call to all the corps members who are serving in that state and other states to ensure that the restrictions given to them by the NYC is being adhered to.
Sure. All right, moving away from that report now, the major headline here reads, Kaduna APC defies Oshomole over Sani. Kano Deputy Governor resigns. You find that on pages 2, 10, and 14. And the writer says, a defection. Akpabio meets Buhari in London. Array APC reps group alleged plot to bribe lawmakers to remove Saraki Dogara. The report of that is on page 2, where the APCs had asked what's his name now? Had asked the Kaduna APC to reinstate
Shehu
Sani.
Yeah.
But it's looking like they are saying, no, we can't do that.
Dead end.
Dead end. We're going to stick to what we know. I'm trying to find that on the page. Okay. The Kaduna State Executive of the All Progressives Congress has said it is not backing down on the indefinite suspension it imposed on the senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani. The state APC rejected the directive of the party's National Working Committee that Sani's suspension should be called off. The APC NWC had, in a statement on Sunday by the party's acting National Publicity Secretary, Yekini Nabena in Abuja, directed a Tundun Wada ward to leave the suspension imposed on Sani. But they say, no, we're not going to. I mean, that's like defying that, that directive and saying, no, we're not going to bring him back.
Well, we thought so. With what's on ground now currently, it shows that whatever the offense that the Senator Shehu Sani has committed, it's beyond the level whereby the party in the APC party in that state feels it's unpardonable, and with the way he's gallivanting themselves and all that. Although we all agree with me that Senator Shehu Sani is a very outspoken person, and in recent times he has been speaking out on issues that have been going on in the National Assembly, especially the Senate, and also the country at large. And then again, I feel that whatever it is, in order for them to restore peace in their party and ensure that they win grants in Kaduna State for the forthcoming election, they should just do the needful.
Well, if you know Shehu Sani, as you said, you know that he's a man that you can't toss here and there. Okay. He's been strong, although lots of people said he has two bodies. He's having part of the PDP and also having part of the APC. They really don't know where he falls in. And you cannot really describe him. You cannot say this is the person. You can't describe him with what he does. Even in his party, he's against some of these things, and he's not withholding words. He's saying it the way it is, and he doesn't even care whose horse is gone. He just says it and says, this is it. And he talked about the salaries, their take-home pay. He talked about a lot of things in the party, and now the election is around the corner. I think the party doesn't even trust him. They see him as a black and white, not really having this is white or this is black. So with this suspension, I think they're forcing this suspension so that he will not go and start leaking informations, and I think it's not good enough. He's come back home, and he's a party member. Why do we have this kind? Are they not pushing him to the other party? Maybe ADC or maybe APC, because they might just put him. I mean PDP. They might just push him to another party, and you are lost such a powerful man that has his own crowd as well.
He's always been very vocal against the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai himself and two other members of the Senate who are from that state. The thing is, like you said, it's risky, and that's what the National Working Committee is trying to avoid, because they know that if you push him too much, he will move to another party. Yeah. So they don't want to lose more senators, and I hope that the state APC would follow through with what the National Working Committee has said. Let's just look at some of the last headlines here now. 7 banks make 8.58 billion naira fresh investment in software. You find that on page 37. Olubado High Chiefs hold peace meeting. You find that on page 14. Igbo interested in restructuring, not presidency. Ohanese, IPOB. You find details on page 16. Lagos Ibadan Rail, federal government to deploy 16 locomotives, 40 coaches, others. And finally, housewife stabbed husband to death over telephone call.
I think before you wrap up that newspaper review, this particular Punch paper this morning, how can you stab someone that you prefer, you love, and you're stabbing the person? What will make you do that? I don't understand it.
Actually, I have the story here on the Nation newspaper. Precious, would you like to take it?
Yeah, well,
take it so we can go on a break before.
It says that 23-year-old housewife Damilola Yeni has been arrested by the police in Lagos for allegedly stabbing her husband Olumide to death at their home on Lagos Island. It was learned that the duo, who got married about 2 years ago with 2 children together, had a disagreement at their home on Friday. The woman was said to have stabbed a 36-year-old husband in the chest. He was rushed to Lagos Island General Hospital where he died. But I think this
I don't know why
over a phone call.
No matter, that's why I keep saying about how you manage your emotions. Some people are so violent, you know, and I wonder how one can cope with a husband that is violent or the wife
that is violent.
Because I begin to wonder why you're so violent that you want to, some people, they are quarreling with you and they want to pick up an object and throw and think that shows that you are strong or something. And
there are people who brag about it. I've heard people say,
yes.
"Oh, I don't take nonsense. If you try me, I would break it." I'm like, this is not even something you brag about, because until you end up killing someone, that's when you realize that it is not something to hold on to. And then that's where communication also matters. Some people tell you how they feel and we think that they are rude, but they're actually better. It's actually better to say, "This is how I feel." You know, down to then pick an object. I mean, and then we should also, like you said, control your emotions of jealousy. I don't know what the husband did, but no matter what he did, as long as he has not hit you, you know, as long as it's not self-defense, you stabbed him because, you know, of a phone call.
I'm going to comment or say one or two things here. First and foremost, what the act the lady did was highly condemnable. We do not support that, and it's obvious that we're seeing such in our society these days. And this is where emotional intelligence comes to play. A lot of people need to be aware of their own emotions. Yes. When you know you're getting off it, you should know ways on how to manage your emotion and how to control it. And just like she said, some people are always bragging about it. When you know your partner is being violent, be very careful how you relate with he or her, and so that such incidents should not occur again.
If you go to Kirikiri, you see loads of people there. Why they are there, lots of people there. Why they are there is because they killed, you actually murdered someone. There's no words to use again. Murder is murder. And you see people do that. And it all starts with just like what Precious said. And some people brag that, you think I will take this in and I will stab someone, and not just to their spouse, also to friends. They've done a lot to friends, colleagues. I think if someone is getting too much with that attitude, the person needs a psychiatrist.
Yes.
You know, you need to be checked. And in this part of the world, we don't do that. We think it's a normal thing. She has high temper, or he has high-tempered person. I'm high-tempered, and they boast about it.
Like
I think we need to see a doctor. You cannot say you have high temper and I can destroy anything. You know,
and you're okay with that.
I think even at workplace,
you expect other people to be okay with that and work along with you on that particular emotional range, which
I also think at workplace, in school, it should be checked. Our homes, it should be checked. You don't just say the person, you know, now the person behaves, cope with the person. No, I think they need to bring a doctor in to check the person. Something is certainly wrong with that person. We might not say it, but the doctor can identify the challenge. But we'll go on a break. When we come back, we take some stories in the Nation newspaper and also in Daily Trust. We'll be right back.
These are tips to help stay strong and healthy. Learn to do stretching exercises when you wake up. It boosts circulation and digestion and eases back pain. Studies have shown that eating a proper breakfast is one of the most positive things you can do if you're trying to lose weight. Breakfast skippers tend to gain weight. A balanced diet includes fresh fruits or fruit juice, a high-fiber breakfast cereal, low-fat milk or yogurt with wheat toast, and a boiled egg. Many people do not know how to brush their teeth properly. Improper brushing can cause much damage to your teeth and gums, as not brushing at all. Lots of people do not brush for long enough, floss, nor see a dentist regularly. Hold your toothbrush in the same way that you would hold a pencil, and brush for at least 2 minutes. This includes brushing the teeth, the junction of the teeth and gums, the tongue, and the roof of the mouth. Get your daily calcium by chugging milk or eating yogurt. It will keep your bones strong. Remember that your bones density declines after the age of 30. You need at least 200 milligrams daily, which you should combine with magnesium, or it simply would not be absorbed. Tomato is a superstar in the fruit and vegetable pantheon. Potatoes and tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful cancer fighter. They're also rich in vitamin C. The good news is that cooked tomatoes are also nutritious, so use them in pasta, soups, and casseroles, as well as salads. Tomatoes and apples can reduce the risk of asthma and chronic lung diseases. Both contain the antioxidant courseurin. To enjoy the benefits, eat 5 apples a week or tomato every day. We need at least 90 milligrams of vitamin C per day, and the best way to get this is by eating at least 5 servings of fresh fruit and vegetables every day. So hit the oranges and guavas. Folic acid should be taken regularly by pregnant moms and people with a low immunity to disease. Folic acid prevents spina bifida in unborn babies and can play a role in cancer prevention. It is found in green leafy vegetables, liver, fruit, and brain. Vitamins help to boost immunity agent diseases. It also assists in the healing process of diseases such as measles and is recommended by the World Health Organization. Good natural sources of vitamin A are kidneys, livers, dairy products, green and yellow vegetables, pawpaw, mangoes, chili peppers, red sorrel, and the red palm oil. Do not have soft drinks or energy drinks while you're exercising. Stay properly hydrated by drinking enough water during your workout. Just don't overdo things, as drinking too much water can also be dangerous. Do not eat carbohydrates for at least an hour after exercise. This will force your body to break down fat rather than using the food you ingest. Stick to fruits and fluids during that hour, but avoid beer. Don't smoke, and if you smoke already, do everything in your power to quit. Don't buy into that granny smoked and live to be 90 crude. Not even the tobacco giants believe in it. Have a pap smear once a year. Not on our list of favorite things, but it's vital. Cervical cancer kills 200,000 women a year, and it's most prevalent from the cancer of blonde black people. Pretty much everyone agrees that fish is healthy. Living is particularly true of fatty fish like salmon, which is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and various other nutrients. Studies show that people who eat the most fish have a lower risk of sorts of diseases, including heart diseases, dementia, and depression. The importance of getting enough quality sleep cannot be overstated. It may be just as important as diet and exercise, if not more. Poor sleep can drive insulin resistance and throw your appetite hormones out of whack and reduce your physical and mental performance. What's more, it is one of the strongest individual risk factors for future weight gain and obesity. One study showed that short sleep was linked to 89% increased risk of obesity in children and 55% in adults. Drinking enough water can have numerous benefits, and one important factor.
Welcome back. We're still with the newspaper review segment, and Blessed will take some of the stories.
All right, taking up now from the Nation newspaper this morning. Akpabio meets Buhari in UK ahead of defection to APC. And I quickly take the rider and then the stories. My meeting with President by Senator. Presidency we are set to receive in. Speculations about Senate minority leader Godswill Akpabio political fixture has ended. The former Akwa Ibom State Governor is said to defect to the All Progressive Congress APC. He completed his consultation with leaders of the ruling party at the weekend in London, the United Kingdom, where he met with President Muhammadu Buhari, who is on a 10-day vacation. Akpabio yesterday afternoon posted a photo of the meeting on his Twitter handle with a line on why he met with the president. He, however, avoided any indication of his likely defection. We talked about that on the New Telegraph, the paper this morning. We also looked at it on the Punch newspaper this morning, and it's also a major story on the Nation paper this morning. The speculations are there, but with the speculation, I'm thinking, is there a thin line of the Senate minority leader crossing over to the APC? Of
course, everybody want to move. It depends. And some other people have said that if you have issues, you when you move to APC, you might be covered. And some people have said APC is the party to go to. Well, it depends on an individual. If you feel you are tired, you've overstayed, you're welcome in a particular place, some of them feel that way. But the question now is, will it help you, your second term? Some of them are going their second term, tenure in the House. So if you move to another party, will that give you a guarantee that your second tenure will work out?
True. And then you also look at the idea that if, like I said, if Saraki can move, then he can move. But he has not given any indication that he's moving. But every party right now, what's happening is that parties they are wooing, senators.
Bargaining power.
Yes, bargaining power. Come here, we'll give you this. Come there, we'll give you this. That might be what's happening. But it might also be that he's been a peacemaker between the executive and the legislature, because he's always seemed like a really calm person, even in the House. So it might be that he's playing that peacemaker role between the executive and the legislature, which, would be a better role for him to play at this moment. He's a minority leader, so he stands a better chance of playing that role.
All right,
but over the weekend, we saw where, I don't know how this social media how people get their stories. We saw where Dom Emmanuel, the Akwa Ibom State governor, I got it in my, I got that where he talked about Senator Akpabio, and he wasn't really happy hearing that he has already moved. So when as a journalist, you have to wait until you hear from the horse's mouth, yes, not to believe what you are seeing on the social media. But we're still waiting for the governor to come out, the ex-governor to come out to tell us he's moved or not.
All right, we're looking up to that. And still on the Nation newspaper this morning, EFCC likely to squeeze Ekwere Madu's wife, and page 2 has the story. 9 NYSC members drowned in Taraba. We brought you that on the Punch newspaper, and page 2 of the Nation newspaper have that this morning. Raw pleased with Musa move to Al Nassir. Page 37 on Sports of the Nation have the story. And I quickly take this. Resign now, Falano tells Saraki. Others. Page 6 has the story. I quickly take the story here, and so we can just chip in one or two things about that. A human rights activist, Mr. Femi Falana-san, said lawmakers who defected from the All Progressives Congress APC to the People Democratic Party PDP ought to resign from the legislature. In a statement made available to the Nation newspaper yesterday, Falana advised the defectors, who are mostly members of the reformed All Progressive Congress APC, RAPC, to seek a fresh mandate from the electorate. 53 members of the National Assembly dumped by the ruling party and moved to, and most of them citing diversion as the reason for leaving. Among the lawmakers were 37 of members of the House of Representatives and 15 senators, including Senate President Bukola Saraki. Do you think that it is right for the Senate President to resign since he has defected to another political party which did not bring him into office?
Well, it's not about being right or wrong. Basically, right now, the PDP is still the minority. If he has defected, he's in a minority. But the House is in recess, so the House will not reconvene until September. Maybe he's trying to wait it out to see if they get more defections that will put PDP in the majority. But right now, PDP is in the minority, and you cannot, the ruling party, the party that has the majority in the House always gets the Senate president. But you also see that the odds are stacked against him as of now. It was a huge decision he made, and you don't expect that it goes easily with everybody. We also saw the former PDP chairman in the state, Kwara State, Oyedigbo, who has defected to the APC, saying that there's now a coalition of the APC and 15 other parties to try and take, as it were, Kwara State out of the grip of, or the leadership of Saraki. So it's a lot of politics. So,
but I know that a time like this we get to see all of this. The question is this new in our polity? Is this the first time it's happening? If it's to resign, why, what is about Saraki anyway? This Saraki used to, before he became the Senate president, we know the drama that happened when he became the Senate president. Even while he's still there, there've been drama upon drama with Saraki. Why not we have few more months to go? I think we should just allow him just finish his tenure and before all of these things. But if they want, they have their reasons. But is it constitutional? That's from my end. We have to follow the Constitution. If the Constitution says the minority cannot sit on that seat, that means he has to resign. But if the Constitution says otherwise, hey, we have to just follow Constitution.
All right, just giving our take there. And let's just see what the Constitution says when the Senate reconvene. Perhaps as the recess is ongoing, or by September 25th, which is the approved date. And I have the story here. Saraki frustrated government projects through budget delay, says minister. That's coming from, okay, the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has accused Senate President Bukola Saraki of frustrating the pace of government projects through deliberate delay of the annual budget in the National Assembly. Speaking during an interview at the weekend, the Minister for Information, Lai Mohammed, also described the fake news reports penultimate Tuesday of the siege to the home of the Senate President, saying that nothing like that happened. Mohammed also spoke to reporters in Lagos on the impact of the National Assembly members' defection on the government's dismissed claim by Saraki that he did not get any appointment in the Buhari government, and claims by Governor Aminu Tambuwal that his state was starved of federal government project. Now, I'm thinking to myself now as I saw this, why is it that when you are not in a particular political party, you defect from one particular political party to another, it seems like the whole world is now against you. And now this is an accusation now that Senate President Bukola Saraki has been accused of delaying government projects and the budget, and which is coming from the Honorable Minister for Information and Culture. And I'm wondering, why is this coming up now that the Senate President has defected to another political party? Why are they always having this blame game when when one is not dancing to the tune of your party? I don't know what's your take on that.
Well, I think because he's no longer enjoying the unity of the broom, he's now under the covering of the umbrella. So you have to literally look at the protection he had with APC is no longer there. When he was a member of the party, they could look at him and say, "You're one of us, so let's settle all of this amicably." But he's no longer in the party; he has moved. So they don't think they owe him any allegiance or any sort of protection anymore. So this is coming up. But again, when you look at that allegation by the present Minister of Culture, Lai Mohammed, where he said, he's the reason why this project didn't work, the delay in budget. But you realize that it is a national assembly. It is not a one-man assembly. Yes, maybe there are some things that Saraki could have done, but it has to play to the rule of democracy, which says, it has to be the voice. It
has to go across board.
Yes, it has to go across board. The senators must either say yea or nay, and if they're against it, there's nothing he can do. But we've seen that even with, sometimes he pushes. You see him push and say, no, let's wait till we hear from the president. I'm not justifying him, no, but we've seen that it's a house, it's a national assembly. It's not a one-man thing. So it's both ways. The executive, in this administration, we've seen that fracas between the legislature and the executive. Legislature blaming the executive blaming the legislature. So it's been a trade blaming thing.
And I think politics shouldn't be about a person.
Yeah.
The end user also, we need to put that in mind. When you're leading or you are in a party, if we begin to make it look, is Saraki, or is this governor, or is this minister, it's not in my party, so I'm not going to work the way I should work when I'm given an assignment, I think that is wrong. We should put in mind that we have the electorate watching, and you are supposed to help out with what the country needs. And so you are the driver. If you're the driver, someone elected you here to perform your duties. If you're not performing it, then why are you there? It shouldn't be about parties. It shouldn't be about what I call bad belly politics every time. That shouldn't be. We should also think of the people. It's important you think of the people. Don't think, this is not my friend, so I'm not going to work with him. Or it's not my party. So let the project suffer. That's not good enough.
Now, with what you said, rather, I want us to look at it from another perspective. That this government, both at the executive and legislative, having the electorate in mind, in all the interests of the electorate in mind in everything they do, as regards carrying out their oversight.
Well, I can't answer for whether they're having the interest of electorate in mind or not. Because if those who defected, have said, look, the reason we're defecting
they give reasons anyway.
Is because we don't see this government, fixing issues that have to do with the electorate. The party that they left that said, oh, they're selfish, it's their personal interest, they're not thinking of the electorate. So everybody seems to be saying, look, we're thinking of the electorate. But the thing is, as at this moment, I'm going to pick up from where she stopped, where she said, look, it doesn't matter what party is majority or what party is minority or who is Senate President or not. What should matter is that the focus should be on the electorate. Let's work together to ensure that we provide the dividends of democracy to the people, and that's all that should matter.
All right, that's all that should matter, providing dividends of democracy to the people. And still on the Nation newspaper this morning, finally though, why National Assembly must reconvene now, and that's coming from Presidency. You get this and more on the Nation newspaper this morning.
All right, now a quick look at the headlines on the front page of the Daily Trust. The major headline here says pressure mounts on Saraki to reconvene the National Assembly. That report begins on the front page and continues on page 5. Just below the nameplate, IPOB gives conditions for peace. Details on page 4. Woman stabs husband to death. Details on page 52. Just on the bottom strip here, Borno candidate emerges UTME top scorer. Details on page 7. And finally, 9 corps members drown in Taraba. Details on page 4, and that's all for the front page of the Daily Trust.
Okay, this is where we'll end this segment. The newspaper review segment will go on a break now. And when we come back, though we're taking this because our guest is still on his way, we want to look at curbing violence, curbing domestic violence in Nigeria. We'll be right back.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or fetoris, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria producing sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath. After they are digested, their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and flossing, ensure the removal of small particles of food that can build up and slowly break down, producing odor. A film of bacteria called plague builds up if brushing is not regular. This plague can irritate the gums and cause pockets of build-up between the teeth and gums called periodontitis. Crash diets, which is fasting and low carbohydrate eating programs, can produce halitosis. This is due to the breakdown of fats producing chemicals called ketones. These ketones have a stronger aroma. Certain drug medications can also reduce saliva and therefore increase mouth odor. Other drugs can produce others as they break down and release chemicals in the breath, such as nitrates used to treat angina, some chemotherapy chemicals, and some tranquilizers such as phenothiazines. Individuals who take vitamin supplements in large doses can also be prone to bad breath, mouth, nose, and throat condition effects. Sometimes produce small bacteria covered stones that form on the tonsils at the back of the throat and produce a mouth odor. Also, infections or inflammations in the nose, throat, or sinuses can cause halitosis, which is bad breath, especially in children. It can be caused if they have a foreign body lodged in their nasal cavity. Some cancers, liver failures, and other metabolic diseases can cause halitosis due to specific mixes of chemicals that they produce. Gastroesophageal reflux disease can cause bad breath due to the regular reflux of stomach acids. Major treatment for bad breath include brushing at least twice a day, but preferably after each meal. Flossing reduces the buildup of food particles and plaque from between the teeth. Brushing only cleans around 60% of the surface of the tooth. Cleaning dentures of anything that goes into your mouth. Dentures, bridge, and mouth guard should be cleaned as recommended on a daily basis. Cleaning prevents the bacteria from building up and being transferred back into the mouth. Changing toothbrush every 2 to 3 months is also important for similar reasons. Brushing your tongue removes bacteria, food, and dead cells commonly stored up on the tongue, especially in smokers or those with a dry mouth particularly. Sometimes a tongue scraper can be used to avoid the dry mouth by drinking plenty of water. Avoid alcohol and tobacco, both of which dehydrate the mouth. Chewing gum or licking a sweet, preferably sugar-free, can help stimulate the production of saliva. Taking a conscious look at one's diet by avoiding onions, garlic, and spicy food, sugary foods are also leads to bad breath. Reduce coffee and alcohol consumption. Eating breakfast that includes rough foods can also help clean the back of the tongue. If bad breath persists, however, it is advisable to visit a doctor to check for underlying causes. Remember, keeping the mouth hydrated can reduce mouth odor.
Welcome back. Well, in this segment, we're taking this segment because our guest for the other topic is still on its way. We want to look at what is currently, it's not even new, happening in Nigeria where you have domestic violence. But we want to look at how we can curb domestic violence. Domestic violence has been on in Africa, and in some quarters is generally accepted for a spouse to hit his wife, and they say it's the culture, you cannot retaliate. But with what is happening now in Nigeria, it's beginning to look as though it's turning around, where the woman is beginning to be violent against the male folks. We want to look at it this morning, and the phone lines will be open for you to call and make your contribution. Tell us what you think is causing these terrible actions where it leads to loads of death. Lots of people are dying by the day. Let's know from you. And also, if you think you have a solution, we want people to call in to prefer a solution to this. Yes.
So basically, just to refer to the story we read in the papers this morning, the woman said she was acting, I read another version where she said she was acting in self-defense. that the man had taken, the man had called her all day. She didn't take her calls, so by the time he got home, he accused her of infidelity, and then it led to a brawl. So in self-defense, you know, she didn't mean to kill him. She said she didn't mean to kill him. That in self-defense, she stabbed him. So it was a brawl. We needed to clarify that, you know, where the whole issue came from. But at the end of the day, people need to, you know, watch their emotions. Sometimes we don't think, we don't know we have a problem, because we always see it as a strength. People say, oh, I have anger, or I get angry easily, I have short temper, I'm hot-tempered. So we see it more as a strength rather than as a vice. People brag with it. It's really not something to brag with. And it really starts from when we're young. You know, when you have issues with your siblings, and then, you know, somebody says something, you can't hold that emotion in, you find it difficult to express yourself. People who find it difficult to express themselves are the ones who usually have that anger problem. When they are talking, and they are not able to express it, you know, and then they pick up something to hit the person because what's in your head, you can't voice it.
Now, over time, we've seen cases like this happen. I believe sometime early this year or the mid of this year, where a Lagos-based lawyer had to stab the husband to death. Also, still this same anger issue and all that. And another point I want to say, look at here is the issue of emotional intelligence. We talked about that when we're going through the newspaper review, and we will also point at one major fact that self-awareness is one of the factors to overcome anger and all that. You just have to be aware of your emotions. You should know. Now, in this case of this man and his wife, she said she didn't. It wasn't her intention to kill him, rather.
She did anyway.
And in several cases where domestic violence has happened and death has always been the outcome of it, you only hear the person in charge of accused of the crime always saying that it wasn't an intention. It wasn't an intention. Naturally, it wasn't an intention. But at that point in time, if you're not aware of yourself, you're not aware of the state of mind at that point in time, you can go as far as doing go as far as being violent and doing things that you really do not expect to do at that point in time. And then again, I also want us to look at it from this perspective, whereby people should learn as much as they can to manage their anger. Anger is something we can overcome. It's a bad emotion, it's a bad habit as well. If you are in a particular, you're having a particular habit over time, you realize that this particular habit is not yielding positive results, but rather it's tilting toward a negative result. You should be able to be conscious of yourself and saying, I think I need to put an end to this thing in order not to get me into trouble, just as in the case with...
Okay, I guess they are going to put on the phone lines now for them to call and make their contributions. We want to find out from you if you've ever been in a state of where you hit someone, you pick up something because you're angry, you hit at someone, or you're in a state where you wanted to do it, but you held back. You can call and make your contribution. We're expecting them to put on the phone lines up now for people to call and make their contributions. Yes, continue.
All right, so I was talking about emotional intelligence, you being aware of yourself. And another thing again here is that just what Precious said, I want to pick out the word there. The fact that you have this anger issue in you and then you're bragging about it does not mean that it's a strength, just like she said. When you're aware of it, you also need to start thinking of how to tame it, because your ability to tame it tells how matured you are. And if you're not able to tame it and it gets worsened and it controls you and puts you into trouble, it shows that the anger has taken control over you. Now it's now the anger in charge of you and not you as a person.
Okay, but I know that a lot of people, they tell you it's not today, this is my nature. They are bragging that attitude, you know, it's an attitude, it's my nature, and they feel, my parent knows I'm a very stubborn person. They are boasting with it as if it's something you should rejoice over. And I don't think it's something you should. If you are stubborn, there's nothing to it. It makes you look funny at times when you think, I'm a very stubborn person. They say it with all, you know, we say it with all pride. And I'm a very stubborn person, and there's nothing I can do. And sometimes it's from the parents. A child, from birth, you just say that this child, you say pick this thing, and the child will say, no, mommy. And the father and the mother will say, oh, please allow him. He's like that. He's just stubborn. can you just allow me? The child grows feeling that he has authority over everybody and over everything around him. And he feels like that. He says, my child has to blow that child, you know, give him a blow or hate. And they are boasting. And that's how this child, male or female, grows up and becomes something else to the society. We'll go on this, okay, it's up already, and becomes something to the society. Meanness, really, because when they tag you a murderer, your family name will be tagged into that. Yeah. Your entire being, your generation is tagged into that. I think we need to, it's difficult, but it's a process. Yeah. Where you're used to a particular lifestyle and now someone is telling you, don't do this way. Let's get this call. Maybe there's a solution from the caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, we can hear you.
Hello.
Good morning.
This is Lukman from Shomolu.
Yes. Lukman, go ahead. I
think there's a disconnect.
Yes. Okay, you can try. Yes.
So basically, he says something about intention, and you know, so when the woman said, "Look, I didn't intend to," there's something about intention. Intentions don't matter if your actions don't match, because at the end of the day, what determines consequence is not your intention, is your action. Action now determines the consequence, you know, consequences. It's what she's going to face in the end, because the law, while the law recognizes self-defense, but someone has been murdered. And we're talking about, you know, one thing I do when I'm angry is to always look for a point of exit. If I'm in any situation, I look for a point of exit. Once I walk into a place where I know my entry, but I'm also looking for an exit in case of anything. You should always look for a point of exit in the moment, in a brawl. I used to, you know, we don't brag about it until you almost kill someone. And that's when you realize that, oh my goodness. I remember when I used to be so angry, because then, you know, I stutter when I'm talking, so I can't really express myself. So when I'm trying to, the other person always has an open hand in the conversation when you're talking, and then I can't talk. So I'm looking for the next thing to hit you with. And then, you know, I remember it was a party, I think. We were having this party, and then they were cooking. You know that big wood for that's on fire. I brought it out, and I wiped, you know, with the fire on the wood. Wow. The person was lucky enough to have, you know, run away. If that person would have been disfigured today, that's what it occurred to me. In my silent moment, you know, there was just a word that came to me, and it said, "Precious, anger has nothing to prove, but everything to lose." And that was the last time. That's why it is.
So how did you, because there's a process, how did you manage to withhold when he wants to come?
The first thing I do is, like I said, I look for a point of exit. I know when to walk away. I just know that, look, this is the time to walk away. And then again, I speak less. Because the more you realize that the more you speak, the angrier you are. Yeah. You know, or you become rather. So I speak less. Some people say to me, you're so quiet, you're so calm. I'm like, thank you. It's almost like a compliment. But really, I'm trying not to get angry. And you should have done, because I know that in that moment of, okay.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Francis, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
I think the problem is us personally. I think before a relationship, before a marriage can get to that stage, by then we must have known each other before that. Before you get into a marriage, what you can do. Hello?
We can hear you.
You know what is capable of. Before a lady can stab a man, that means you see before you marry her that she's she's somebody who is very, very conscious of being angry. The thing is, we have to sanitize ourselves. For example, myself, before I have a lady I'm dating right now, my family said I can't date her because they see in her that she's someone who is very angry. And I know likewise all are used to this. They told the guy or the man that this person, you can't marry her because this person shows some sort of attitude, being anger. Before you get to marry somebody, study her very well, know her weaknesses, and not because of love, marry somebody. If you marry because of, oh yes, I love her, oh yes, this person is this, and you ignore the fact that this person used to be angry, I guess that person will keep the person at last.
Thank you so much, Francis. But Francis, do you know that even before getting married to your spouse, some of them don't just talk? Do you know some people who just keep quiet and they bottle anger inside, and that's what leads to that action? There's a reaction. And so looking at our homes, the husband and the wife, before now what we see is the men doing these things. But now it's beginning to see as if baton has changed to the women folks, where, and it's not accepted in the African culture. Our culture doesn't affect. In fact, what our culture accepts is most times, or permit, or prompt, or lure, is that most times they want to be on the side of the man because he's the head of the home. And so he does anything, you're just allowed to keep quiet. But I think staying too long in a particular matter, bearing without getting counseling, can also lead to death. You see, the woman is very quiet, they married her, she doesn't talk, she's very friendly, and the man keeps treating her anyhow, or the woman keeps treating the husband because he's a quiet man and sees him as an inferior or something you can trample upon his rights, and this other couple is keeping quiet. The partner is keeping quiet, and one day there's a build-up. And after that, you now hear is stabbing someone you prefer to love. I think we need to begin to look at what is the cost, what prompted that action as well.
Another thing I want us to look at here, based on what Francis said, in every human there's a strength and a weakness as well. And then again, you need to understand you as a person. You need to know your strength, you need to know your weakness. And honestly speaking, anything that is negative on the inside of you is your weaknesses, which you need to work on so that they can be a strength and make you become a better person. And then again, if you have a weakness and you're bragging about it, it doesn't make you a better person. It makes you less of who you are as an individual. And another thing I want us to also know that here is that there's a devil in every saint. Now, I also have my own anger to the level I can handle it. You also have. In fact, everybody gets angry at one point or the other. But our ability to be able to manage it, the strength within, the emotional intelligence within us to be able to know that, okay, this is what happens when I get angry, and this is the best thing I need to do. I've also been in that situation whereby at every little opportunity, I'm very touchy. And at every little opportunity, I flare up. And over time, when I flare up, I'm always thinking of wanting to go violent. And then again, I ask myself, if you go violent, have you thought about the outcome of your action and not the reason of what gets you angry? And when you eventually get to now being yourself and now start looking through things, okay, what made me angry? Shouldn't be something I should have overlooked at the initial stage. Because sometimes we feel...
I'll come back. There's a call. Oh, okay, good morning to you, Ayo.
Good morning, brother and your colleagues.
Good morning.
I listened to your topic very well, but in your analysis, it seems you never really hit at the point, the root of the killing.
Okay, tell us.
Take it for example, at Onipopo here, some few years back, a boy under 18 years was playing with his girlfriend near the market, and the girl do sell cuckoo. Normally, he will cut it for you on your demand. So the boy normally goes there and plays with the girl. While they were playing, the girl said, "Yo, you are disturbing me, Shola, you beg me." You denied on the hand. Before you know, he shook him and he died. Is that anger? Please, let us
so what do you
look into it seriously.
Ayo, so what do you think is the cause?
It's a moral. It's a normal instruction. And the very useful period is very, very important.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Blessed.
So as I was saying before the call came in, it's just all about you being aware of yourself. Why are you getting angry? And what do you think you can do to help yourself get out of it when it's real call? And over time, I've come to realize that whenever I'm angry, the best thing for me to do is just to keep quiet. Because when I try to defend myself, in the process of wanting to defend myself, I might go violent. So it's one is self-awareness, and then again, you knowing how you can curtail it so it does not get to the extent where you now become violent.
You said something about whether, what's the cause of, the violence. While I understand that it might look like a retaliatory move, but I also think that, this is not new. Domestic violence on men is not new. that because our culture celebrates, you know, that manliness, we see it as, oh, he's a man. You cannot, why would a woman be able to hit you? So a lot of men don't speak up. But now that it looks like, okay, we're in a more...
If you don't speak up, you will die someday.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're in a more tolerant society. Our own generation is more tolerant. In the sense that we try to see past gender. A lot of men are now speaking up, saying, look, I am also suffering. It's not just the woman who is suffering. But the thing is, violence, you know, I was listening to Francis earlier when he talked about, you know, who you want to marry and who you don't want to marry, you must look at the person. Marriage doesn't fix anybody, and that we know. The thing is, you have to, even before you're married, these issues are not marriage issues. These issues are personal issues. Even before you're married, you have to first take a look at yourself and know that you have a problem. And then if you know some, because he was saying, oh, a mother can tell, a father can say, leave that person, they have anger problem. Then who helps the person? Because we have people around us who have anger issues that we must also ensure that we get them help. You don't just leave them and say, well,
if they don't want help, some people will tell you they rejoice in doing this. They'll tell you they should know that I get angry. They should know that I can be violent. You know, they should know that they should know this. So how do you help such a person?
For those who do not want to get help, I mean, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
Certainly.
You can help somebody who doesn't know that they have a problem.
Certainly.
But, you know, let me even focus on the person who has a problem and knows that they have a problem.
Yeah.
The thing is, we should learn to communicate. I always say that the hallmark of adulthood is communication. For children find it difficult to express themselves. But for adults, we have the ability to express ourselves. We must always communicate. Why at that moment when you're angry, you walk away? Don't keep quiet after the situation. Always come back and talk about it so that you don't have pent-up emotions. Communication is very key. And it has to be by words and not by fist, you know.
I know that some people, I keep saying choice of words. You know, that can lead. Some people are proud to. They feel, why do you have to talk down on me? I'm the head of the home. And the woman too will say, why must you, like this picture up now, this is terrible. I don't know how to describe this kind of picture. It's terrible. How can you beat someone to this level? Someone you say you love, maybe you went to the altar. I think, just like the other guy said, morals. Some people cannot raise their fist. They can't just against the female. Some cannot even do it. Some women can do it because from birth they've told them that you cannot hit your man. And so, but that doesn't mean you will not speak up. You will not need counseling. If the man is punching you every day to this, with the kind of picture we saw right now, before you get to this level, I'm sure he's been doing it over and over, want to give you one, use his fist and do all of that. Before you get to that level, you have your parents. If they are not good enough for you, I don't know why your parents won't be good enough for you, but if they are not responsible enough, you have their in-laws, you have the church, you have friends that are responsible. Look around you and see who you can actually tell your story to. And we too need to understand that if someone is telling you the story, you don't have to expose it. My pastor will say, die with it. There are some things, information you die with. If you begin to expose people's secrets, you're not making them speak up. We've seen where we got a case where we had to bring a lawyer to it so that the lawyer can speak with this man. There are constitutional rights. There are laws in the land that you cannot hit a female and neither hit a male as well. So you have a husband out there and you think you can stab and you say it's anger. Some people just say, I didn't know when I did it. But you knew when all this anger started. It's not today. It didn't just start that day. You know you've been... Some people, if you see the way they hit their children, you won't believe they gave birth to that kids. And the kids grew up seeing mother and father blowing each other, just like this picture. The child is in between them, and a child cannot stand it. And you see that child grows up to become also just like the father, because he grew up or she grew up seeing both parents fight, exchange blows. You can do it with phones. Someone told me over the weekend that they do these fights through phones. Why did you mess up now? Why would you mess up like that? I need to punch you, but I'm not going to do that. on the phone and the wife replied, you started it now.
That's cyber violence.
So, and you started it. But because they don't want their kids to grow up
growing up
knowing that they quarrel. So the kids, when you talk in the children's church, we see kids, when you say you're discussing about fights, being violent, they'll say, we don't do that in my house. They really don't know that it's going on.
But because the parents don't put it in their face.
They don't put it in their face. When you put this, the child becomes who you have become.
Yeah.
And some parents don't want their child or their children to become who they've become. And so we need to look at violence as something very serious. In rounding off, Blessed.
Okay, in rounding off now, violence, like we have said, it's not what we encourage in our society to say. It's totally out of it. Violence, it's not one thing that occurs. Domestic violence is not something that occurs in the marriage among couples. It's also occurs even in organizations, as far as there's a relationship between one person and the other. Just like Eyo said that the case between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and just mere issues, and then the girl used the knife and against the guy and all that. So what we're trying to say here in essence is be aware of yourself, be conscious of yourself, know when you're getting to that level, and if someone is getting you angry, speak out, express yourself, be open up. Just like she said, communicate your feelings.
How do we, before you round off, we needed solutions to all of this. How do we now stop it? What do we do? If you already you are about to do it, your fist is about, what happens? How do you withdraw?
Okay, well, for me, just like I said earlier on, while I was giving my take on it, is be conscious of yourself. That self-consciousness, that self-awareness there. You know you are angry. And in order not to aggravate, because the anger goes through processes and it goes through levels. Now, if we're having an argument and you keep saying words and words and words, and I'm not saying anything, you are aggravating me. But if I remain at that particular point with you, I might do something nasty. But if I realize that, okay, what you are saying is really getting hard at me, the best I have to do is walk out. Because if I stay there, it might become nasty. So people should be conscious of themselves, be aware of yourself, and after the situation is now calm, express yourself, express your feeling. What you said the other time, I don't like it, there should not be a recurrence and all that. If we are willing to, anger is something we can really overcome. It's really something we can manage, and just like she said, there's a process to it. If we can be able to get to know ourselves and look for a way to tame it, we will be able to ensure that such violence never occurs again.
For me, quickly, two things. I would say you need to know what triggers it, and then you also need to be aware of when conversations are becoming arguments. When a conversation is turning into an argument, that's the time to walk away. And then number two, some parents are raising violent children without knowing they're raising violent children.
Okay, I'm going to hold you on just a call. Akim, good morning to you. Okay, we can't take any call anymore. We're wrapping up.
When your children are fighting, or when your son hits your daughter hits your son, the question to ask is, what did he do? Because you need to make them know that violence is inexcusable. So it's fixing it immediately and not asking what did she do or what did he do. You can't hit anybody irrespective of what they did.
So it's training your kids to understand it from the scratch. And I think that is it. When you train your kids, I think you're giving them a vision. You're telling them this is the way to go and the other way is not. A lot of times people blame people, but I keep saying it's parenting. It's all about parenting, how you've grown, how you trained, what's your formation, how were you raised. It has a lot to do, and don't keep anything inside. Tell someone that you are hurt, tell your partner that you're hurt, tell them you're not happy, and get someone to help you out. And if you're already in that system, if you say you have a hurt temper, you don't know what to do, get a doctor. Doctors can help you, counselors can help us. Don't let you go to maximum prison, you won't like what is there. Don't push your family name into the gutters. Well, this is where we end this segment of the program. Up next is Superdawn Sports. We'll be right back.